My partner gets defensive whenever I tell them how I feel. Hello, everybody. My name is Danny, and I'm one of the head coaches here at the Happily Committed Project. If this is your first time visiting the channel, welcome. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so that you can become part of the community and be informed whenever we have new content, which is all the time. And if you've already been part of the channel, been part of the community, welcome back. So as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, we are talking about how to express yourself so that your partner does not get defensive. And there's two things that I want to cover in this video. Number one is the potential reasons for why your partner may be getting defensive. And the second one is, how do you deal with it? What do you do, right? Because we're looking for solutions. I am sure you are clicking on this video because you want to know how to stop it. You want to know how to communicate effectively with your partner so that you don't have to argue all the time. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to be fighting with your partner 24/7. It's not fun. And it leads to bigger issues within the relationship. So when we talk about things that may potentially be leading to your partner getting defensive, right? And I'm very specific when I say partner because this is not specific to a man or a woman, right? In a relationship, either partner can get upset, get annoyed, get frustrated. And sometimes we've been in a relationship for so long that things just become routine. And you start to lose that spark within the relationship, and that can affect both people. So that's why I want to generalize the information because it's applicable to both. So as I was saying, what are some of the potential reasons that your partner may be getting defensive? The first one that I usually find is that there's some kind of conflict that has not been resolved within the relationship, right? Something that happened, or maybe multiple things that happened over an extended period of time within the relationship that has not been solved. Maybe you've tried to solve them. Maybe you've tried to, talk about it, unpack it, sweep it under the rug. But for some reason, it is just a topic that continues to come up over and over and over and over again. And you're just not getting past it. You're not resolving it, and you're not moving on. And what ends up happening is that those unresolved conflicts can turn into frustrations and resentment and anger to some degree. So understanding that it may not necessarily be something that you did in that moment, it's things that have happened over a period of time within the relationship, and just that action within that moment triggered a response from pent up frustration, resentment, and anger, right? The second thing that we take a look at here is previous traumas. Maybe your partner has dealt with some things in their past, or essentially have not dealt with some things in their past, whether it be familial traumas or traumas in childhood when it came to bullying or not feeling like they fit in, or being rejected, or maybe previous traumas with relationships prior to your relationship. All of these things can have an effect on how they show up in the relationship and how you guys navigate the relationship. So when you're trying to have a conversation, when you're trying to resolve an issue, if you are unable to do it because your partner keeps getting triggered from maybe something that happened in their past, it's very important to recognize the difference between it being something that you may have done that contributed to the argument, or something that they are holding on to from a past trauma. And one of the last things that I take a look at is general communication, right? Are you familiar with how your partner communicates? Have you actually sat down and had a conversation with them to try to figure out what the best way is to approach that communication? Because oftentimes what I've come to find in my one-on-one coaching sessions, and I actually had this happen, this very exact, this topic that we're talking about right now. I was working with a client last week, actually. And I'm segueing into this story just because it fits perfectly with what I'm talking about. But I was talking with a client last week, and we'll just name her Susan, right? And she was having issues communicating with her husband about a particular issue that she was having within the relationship. And no matter how she said it, no matter how she communicated, it just was not getting across. There was a wall up. He was getting defensive. He was shutting down. And what we came to realize that it was not necessarily what she was saying, but how she was saying it. Because tone is everything. Volume is everything. Pitch is everything when you are communicating, right? I think we oftentimes forget that communication is multifaceted. It's not just, hey, I'm going to verbally tell you what I am feeling, because as human beings, we actually process body language first and then the actual words. Communication, 70% of it is nonverbal. So we pick up on those cues either consciously or subconsciously. So I worked with her on changing the way in which she was delivering the message in a way that he was able to understand what she was saying, and they were able to get past the conflict because now they were seeing eye to eye. So again, it's not necessarily about what you're saying, it's the delivery. And these are some of the reasons for why our partners have a tendency of getting defensive. So the next part is, what do you do? How do you deal with it, right? Because that's usually the biggest hurdle for most people. You can recognize it, you can be aware of it, but sometimes we don't always know how to change it. And I want to be able to give you some tips to be able to utilize immediately. Like once you're done watching this video, you can take those tips and start applying them immediately and test to see if there are any changes in the dynamic of your communication, right? So the first one here is express your needs and your wants in a non-blaming way. When we've had issues for extended periods of time within a relationship and conflicts have not been resolved, sometimes we have a tendency of getting into this blame game and we can nag more than we want to. That might not even be a part of our personality. It's just something that has seeped into the relationship because we don't know how else to get across to our partner how we're feeling. So be very consciously aware of expressing your needs and your wants in a non-blaming way. So a perfect example of this, for example, is if you feel like the intimacy has been lacking within your relationship. And I don't necessarily mean sex. I just mean any kind of physical intimacy, holding hands, cuddling when you're watching a movie, maybe them having their hand on your leg when you're watching Netflix, whatever the case may be. If that connection is no longer present and it's something that's been bothering you for a while, I would recommend communicating that in a way that, again, is not blaming. So for example, hey, I really used to love it when you would hold my hand during a movie. Is it okay if we hold hands watching the movie? Right? It's about letting them know that there's something in particular that you're missing and you are expressing that need and that expectation in that moment without making them feel guilty. What I oftentimes see is people say, you don't hold my hand anymore. You must not be attracted to me. You must not love me anymore. You must hate me. And immediately what you're doing is that you're putting your partner on the defensive because you're attacking them and you're coming for them and you're questioning their motives within the relationship, which on a deeper level means that you do not trust them. And that is what they are picking up on. Most of the time when people get defensive, it's because they're harboring some level of shame or because they're trying to protect their emotions or they feel that they are unjustly being attacked. So making sure that we are diffusing the situation before it even gets to that point, approaching it from a very casual and relaxed way, but being very clear with our needs and our expectations. And look, if you struggle with expressing needs, expectations, setting boundaries, that is what I do. That is how I help people on a day-to-day basis. And that is the most important fundamental part of having a successful, healthy relationship. So if you feel like you need help with that, I am more than happy to help you and support you through that. I'm going to provide a link in the comment section down below for our website where you can book a one-on-one coaching session if this is something that you are struggling with, because at the end of the day, it's going to be very difficult for you to get past these issues if you are unable to be clear on your needs and your expectations and knowing how to communicate those things. The second thing here is talk about communication. Talk about the things that are not working for you. right? So have you ever sat down with your partner, your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, and asked them, hey, how do you like to receive information? How do you like to have a conversation when it's something more serious? Is there something that I can be doing better to make you feel more comfortable so that you feel like you can share a little bit more? And just opening the door to that conversation can do wonders, because I guarantee you 98% of you who are watching this video probably have not tried that yet. And it can be really frustrating because you're sitting here saying, why do I have to try to make my partner feel comfortable if I'm not feeling comfortable? But at some point, somebody has to wave the white flag and take the lead. And at the end of the day, it is possible that by you doing that, they will actually in turn reciprocate that level of understanding and empathy and invest time into communicating better. When we try to say, no, it's not me, it's them, it's not me, it's them, you're perpetuating the same exact issue that you are trying to combat. So making sure that you're taking a step back and saying, okay, let's try to revamp the way in which we communicate, and I'm going to take the first step and see where it goes. And the last part of this is just body language in general, right? Body language is key. If you are having a conversation with your partner and you're trying to express to them certain needs and expectations or things that you are not satisfied with, and you're noticing they're getting defensive, take a look at your body language. Are you crossing your arms? Are you rolling your eyes? Are you bouncing your foot up and down? Are you kind of nervous twitching? Are you using your hands a lot when you're communicating? Yes, I use my hands a lot, but I am Cuban. I cannot help it. But any of those types of things that you are doing, just be consciously aware of them, because sometimes that body language can come off as being aggressive, and therefore it's automatically going to put your partner on the defensive. So, to cover the 3 things that you can do right now to change the dynamic, to work on expressing things to your partner so they don't get defensive. Number 1, it's expressing your needs, your wants in a non-blaming way. Number 2, it's making sure that you are asking how they would like to communicate and having that open dialogue about it. And number 3, it's about being consciously aware of your body language. If you found this video helpful, if you felt like there were certain tips, recommendations that may have been missing, please make sure you leave your comments in the comment box down below. I love to interact with you guys in the comment section. After all, this channel is yours. This is a community. We create these videos to help and support you. So your thoughts, your words matter. And I take a look at all of them. I utilize that information to create content to in turn help you guys out. Again, if you maybe want a little bit more information, if you want to dig a little bit deeper, you can visit us at www.happilycommitted.com, where we have a multitude of different videos and blogs and articles related to this subject and many other subjects as well. And you can also book your one-on-one coaching session if you feel like you need more help in the link that I provided in the description box down below. Again, my name is Danny. I am your life and relationship coach, and I will see you guys in the next video.